My dad died of Alzheimer's, and now it's my turn. That's what my friend told me, eyes filled with tears, holding his head as if trying to stop his brain from slipping through his fingers. I'm forgetting names, places, sometimes even how I got home. And the worst part, no one seems to understand what this does to you. He's not alone. And if you're here, maybe you've felt something similar. The truth is harsh. 1 in 9 Americans over the age of 65 already lives with Alzheimer's. And the scariest part, memory loss begins long before the diagnosis. Tiny signs, subtle discomforts, and by the time you realize it, the damage has already started. But don't panic. Today, I'm going to show you 7 shocking signs that your memory may already be slipping right now. And the third one, that's the most dangerous of them all, and almost no one talks about it. These aren't random signs. They were identified in clinical studies and observed in patients who later developed progressive cognitive decline. Catching these symptoms early can change everything. It can mean more years of independence, mental clarity, the ability to make your own decisions, and live life on your terms. You'll understand what each sign reveals about your brain, how they show up, and most importantly, what to do to protect your mind before it's too late. And yes, there's a bonus tip at the end that can actually reverse much of the damage. And chances are, you already have it at home, but you're using it the wrong way. So stick with me till the end, because this knowledge could help you avoid the worst-case scenario. It could mean the difference between a clear, vibrant life and the emptiness of forgetting who you are. Oh, and before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It helps this message reach the people who need it most. There are so many who don't have access to books, articles, or specialists. By subscribing, you make sure you'll continue to get the most important discoveries about your brain, your body, and your health for years to come. Sin. And number 1. Subtle changes in appetite and taste. It might sound odd, but the way you taste food could be one of the first signs that your memory is being affected. Researchers at the Monal Chemical Senses Center in Philadelphia found that many patients who were later diagnosed with Alzheimer's had experienced changes in taste and lost interest in their favorite foods. Years before, showing that classic symptoms like confusion or disorientation, this happens because the medial temporal lobe, which houses the hippocampus, one of the first brain regions hit by Alzheimer's, is also linked to areas that regulate appetite, smell, and the enjoyment of food. If you or someone close to you has started to eat less for no clear reason, say things like food just doesn't taste the same anymore, or no longer enjoy meals they used to love, it might not be just getting older. It could be a quiet warning that the neural connections tied to memory are beginning to fail. What can you do? Before jumping to conclusions, consult with a doctor and track the symptoms over time. Keeping a simple journal of changes in appetite and taste can help your neurologist spot early patterns of decline. Sin. Number 2. Disconnected time lapses, like your mind shuts off for a few seconds. Imagine you're driving to the store, and suddenly you realize you've arrived, but you can't remember the drive. Or you're watching TV and someone asks what the show is about, and you simply don't know. It's like you were physically there, but mentally checked out. This kind of conscious blackout might seem harmless, especially if it only lasts a few seconds. Many people even joke, "Oops, I've zoned out for a sec." But when this starts happening more often, it's time to pay attention. According to a study published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease, these sudden attention lapses, the ones that happen without tiredness, distraction, or stress, may be one of the earliest signs of failure in the hippocampus and short-term memory circuits. Think of your brain like a railroad system. Every recent memory, every thought, needs to run smoothly along clearly defined tracks. But when there's inflammation or a buildup of beta-amyloid plaques, which occurs in the early stages of Alzheimer's, those tracks slowly start to break apart. You're still functioning, you walk, talk, drive, but part of your mind is offline. And the trickiest part, these issues don't show up in standard tests during the early years. They're silent. That's why many people only realize something's wrong once the condition has worsened. What should you do? Pay attention to whether these blackouts happen when you're alert, not just tired. Ask someone you trust to help you notice these episodes. And see a neurologist, ideally someone experienced with cognitive disorders. Today, tests like PET scans with amyloid markers can detect these early warning signs before full-blown memory loss sets in. In the next sign, we're going to talk about something even more unsettling, that anxiety that shows up out of nowhere in situations that used to feel completely normal. And yes, science has already confirmed it. This could be your brain calling for help. Sign number 3, sudden. Unexplained anxiety. You're on the couch. Everything's calm. Nothing in the environment has changed, and suddenly, your heart starts racing, your breathing shortens, and a wave of restlessness takes over your body. But there's no clear reason, no bad news, no real threat, just anxiety that came out of nowhere. That's exactly what happened to Michael, a 68-year-old retired engineer who had never experienced emotional issues before. One day, he woke up with a strange feeling, like something was just off. In the following weeks, he started having mild anxiety attacks during simple activities, while showering or reading the newspaper. At first, his doctor thought it was just part of aging, maybe the stress of adjusting to retirement. But a year later, the diagnosis came: early-stage Alzheimer's. According to the Alzheimer's Association, changes in mood and behavior, especially anxiety, irritability, and even panic, can appear before noticeable memory loss. That's because areas of the brain, like the prefrontal cortex and amygdala, begin to suffer from chronic inflammation and reduced neurotransmitters like serotonin, both key to emotional balance. It's like the brain, confused, starts triggering its internal alarm system for no real reason, just because its circuits are misfiring. Think of a smoke detector that's malfunctioning. There's no fire, but it keeps going off, loud, annoying. Now imagine that inside your head, day after day. This is the silent suffering many older adults face without even knowing why. And even worse, they're often given tranquilizers without investigating the real cause: the early onset of a neurodegenerative disease. What to look for? New, unexplained anxiety, emotional outbursts that seem to come out of nowhere, sudden mood swings like irritability in situations that used to be easygoing. What to do? Seek an evaluation with a neurologist or psychiatrist who specializes in aging. Avoid relying on anti-anxiety meds without a proper diagnosis. They can mask the real issue. Try therapies that stimulate the brain, like mindfulness, regular walks, and social interaction. Science shows that these practices help regulate the gut-brain axis, a major player in mood control and cognitive protection. Now let's move on to a sign so common. Most seniors don't even realize it's a warning from the brain. Sin number 4, forgetting how to use simple objects. Imagine opening a drawer, seeing your hairbrush, picking it up, and suddenly freezing. You recognize the object. You know it's yours. But for a few seconds, you don't quite remember what to do with it. That's exactly what happened to Carol, a 72-year-old woman who had always been stylish and independent. One morning, as she was getting ready to go out, she picked up her hairdryer and froze. She later said it felt like her brain had gone blank. She knew what the device was, but something inside her just couldn't connect the dots. This type of lapse is one of the silent markers of functional cognitive decline, and it's often ignored or mistaken for distraction. But science tells a different story. Researchers at the Mayo Clinic explain that this isn't just a memory failure, it's tied to executive function, the brain's ability to turn knowledge into action. It's as if the brain knows the answer, but the wire to the switch is fried. These episodes also involve a part of the brain called the parietal cortex, which is responsible for coordinating movement and visual interpretation. When this region begins to fail, the person knows what they want to do, but the body doesn't respond like it used to. And the most dangerous part, these disconnection moments tend to repeat and worsen. What starts with a simple object, like a remote control or a hairbrush, can progress into more serious lapses. How to use the stove, or even how to put on a shirt. If this has been happening to you, even occasionally, you should seek a specialized neurological evaluation. It's not normal to forget how to hold a fork or where to press on your phone. These everyday details, the little things, are exactly where Alzheimer's likes to hide in the early stages. The human brain is a machine of habits. When it starts to fail at automatic tasks, it's a sign that circuits are slowly being erased from within. And speaking of things the brain forgets to do, the next sign is disturbing because it affects your sense of time and you don't even realize it. Sign number 5. Losing track of time or confusing days and dates. Have you ever woken up thinking it was Saturday when it was actually Tuesday? Or were certain you paid that bill yesterday only to find out it was due 2 weeks ago? When this happens frequently, it can be a true sign of cerebral disorganization, especially in areas responsible for time processing and sequential memory, like the hippocampus and medial temporal lobe. In a study published in the Journal of Neurology, scientists observed that temporal disorientation is one of the earliest symptoms of mild cognitive impairment, MCI, a stage that can progress to diseases like Alzheimer's. And here's a little-known fact. When the brain can no longer organize events in chronological order, it also starts failing at forming new memories. In other words, losing track of time isn't just forgetfulness, it's a symptom of a brain that's no longer clearly encoding reality. This symptom quietly undermines an older adult's independence. Appointments are missed, medications are taken at the wrong time, bills go unpaid, and little by little, trust from the children, the spouse, and even the patient themselves fades away. If this is happening to you, listen closely. It's not your fault. There may be an invisible enemy inside your brain, and it's already being studied by the most respected universities in the world. At Harvard University, researchers have identified a group of environmental toxins linked to memory collapse in millions of Americans. They call these toxins brain drainers, or, as many doctors now say, brain-sucking toxins. These substances attack acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter essential for memory and reasoning. And the worst part, these toxins are everywhere in the water, in packaged foods, even in the air we breathe. But there is a natural, accessible, and safe remedy that may help block the effects of these toxins. If you feel like your memory is slipping more than it should, or if this sign of time confusion has already shown up in your life, I strongly recommend watching this special video where we explain how these toxins work and what you can do right now to protect yourself. I've left the link in the description for you, and it's well worth your time, especially if you want to preserve your independence in the coming years. Now, if you've already tried everything to keep your brain sharp and nothing has worked, don't worry, because the next sign may reveal a hidden key to memory, something more present in your daily life than you might imagine. Sin number 6. Difficulty learning something new. Imagine a bucket with a hole in it. You pour in water, but it just keeps leaking. That's exactly how many seniors describe what it feels like when they try to learn something new, whether it's using a phone, remembering a neighbor's name, or understanding new medical instructions. But why does this happen? Learning depends on a process called neurogenesis, which is the creation of new neurons and brain connections, especially in the hippocampus, the brain's center for memory and adaptation. As we age, this ability to form new connections doesn't disappear, as many believe, but it does drop significantly if not properly stimulated. A study from Columbia University showed that the brain's ability to learn new information can decline by up to 30% after age 60. If it's not exposed to adequate stimulation or protected from neurotoxic factors like chronic stress, inflammation, and deficiencies in key nutrients such as vitamin B12, choline, and omega-3. But here's the most troubling part. Many people mistake this for normal aging. It's not. You're not supposed to feel like your brain can't learn anything new anymore. If that's happening, it's a red flag. Something is blocking your brain's plasticity. Now, the good news, this can be reversed, and not necessarily with medication. In fact, a simple protocol combining nutrition, light, physical activity, and targeted cognitive stimulation has been proven effective in multiple clinical studies. Even for restoring learning capacity in individuals over 70, I usually recommend starting with small challenges, like learning 5 words in a new language each day, or brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand. But of course, this needs to be paired with a brain that's free of toxins and properly nourished with the right elements. If you feel like you can't learn the way you used to, don't ignore it. Difficulty learning doesn't just affect intellect, it leads to frustration, social isolation, a loss of self-esteem. And over time, it can open the door to depression and dementia. And the next sign, it's the one many people pretend isn't happening, but it screams silently through the body. A physical symptom often mistaken for tiredness, but one that's directly connected to the breakdown in communication between neurons. Sin number 7. Chronic mental fatigue. At the end of the day, have you ever felt like your brain is more tired than your body? By the end of the day, even without doing anything physically strenuous, all you want is to lie down and shut off, not from sleep, from mental exhaustion. This fatigue that drags on day after day is not normal. It can be one of your brain's final warning signs before it starts to collapse. Here's why. As we age, our neurons require more effort to perform even basic tasks, like remembering where you left your keys or staying focused in a conversation. According to the Mayo Clinic, brains that begin to show memory failure may consume up to 20% more energy just to maintain basic functions like focus and reasoning. It's as if the brain is running in emergency mode all the time, and that extra effort comes at a cost. It drains your vitality, your motivation, and most importantly, your mental clarity. Over time, you start avoiding situations that demand too much from your mind. You postpone decisions, forget important tasks, and begin to feel less useful. But there is a way out. Recent studies from Harvard University have identified toxic compounds in ultra-processed foods, environmental pollutants, and even common medications, substances that directly affect the neurotransmitter acetylcholine, which is essential for memory and brain energy. Some experts have started calling these substances brain-draining toxins, and the name is no exaggeration. That's why a team of doctors and neuroscientists studied a natural way to protect acetylcholine from these toxins and to help the brain regain its vitality. This solution is explained in detail in the video I've linked in the description. If you've been feeling more forgetful, tired, or mentally slow, it's definitely worth watching. But let's go back to the most important point. If this kind of mental fatigue has become part of your daily life, it should not be ignored. It's one of the final signs before more serious symptoms begin to show, things like disorientation, confusion, and even depression. And the longer you delay taking care of your brain, the harder it will be to recover what's being lost. Out of these 7 signs, which one do you feel shows up most in your daily life? Let us know in the comments, because we're here to help, and you are not alone in this journey. Make sure to subscribe to the channel right now. That way, you won't miss the next tips on how to keep your brain sharp. And if you found these signs interesting, you must watch the video where I reveal 9 common foods seniors should never store in the fridge, foods that could be releasing invisible toxins and making your memory worse. Click now and see what might be silently sabotaging your health.